Thanks again for the decorations, Jen. This really does feel like a Halloween special now, and considering the fact that I don't have a wizard outfit to fit the hat that I have on in the thumbnail, I think having just the background Halloween themed is
Bronze?
What?
There's someone here to see you.
Oh, it's Moliminous. Hey man, come on in.
What's up, Bronze? Who's my favorite little third place buddy?
Thanks for coming, man. It means a lot to me to have you come onto my channel. I've been a fan of yours for years now, and I haven't done a collab in such a long time, and even when I did, it wasn't someone with the following you have. To be honest, I was actually kind of surprised you said yes, but I know you didn't just come over here to meet a fan. I know you want to talk about the new My Little Pony movie with me, and seeing your Everything Wrong With video about said movie, I'd like to hear what you have to say about certain parts of the movie. So, what do you say we get this video started?
Well, I've already agreed to help, so I'm contractually obligated to say yeah, let's go.
My Little Pony. I'm sure all of you know about this franchise, from the toys to the show to the large group of adults who unironically love this show. Ever since the original days of My Little Pony, this show has oddly enough gained a following of adult fans that has only increased throughout the years up to the current day, and when Gen 4 came out—
Gen 4? You're not looking to replace me, are you, Bronze?
Oh, Jen. I'm not meaning you, I'm meaning the 4th generation of My Little Pony.
Oh, my bad.
It's fine, Jen. But yeah, Gen 4 coming out with its characters and morals only increased the following of adult fans, myself included. I became a fan of the show in 2013 from one of my friends, and I have loved My Little Pony ever since. Actually, come to think of it, when I regularly made content for my channel many years ago, it was a group brony channel that I made with my high school friends. I made MLP WWE crossover videos along with little videos I gladly won't mention for embarrassing reasons, and I called the channel— God, I haven't seen this name in a long time. The F5 Bronies. I was in high school, what do you expect?
You have to start somewhere.
Cringe aside, My Little Pony did help me gain a small following on YouTube and the channel I have now, so it's not completely terrible to look back on, I guess. Anyways, like all good things, the Gen 4 show, like my high school friends' love for this show, came to an end, but there was talk of another movie coming out not long after. What we did know, though, was that it wouldn't be a movie looking back at Gen 4, but a step forward with a new generation of My Little Pony. Thus, the movie My Little Pony: A New Generation was made. Now, still being a diehard fan of the Gen 4 show, and given the history of my channel, I feel it's only right to talk about this movie, but I'm not alone in this. I brought along another YouTuber I've been a fan of since 2017 to talk about this movie with me, Moliminous. Your thoughts on this, Moliminous?
Well, thanks to Hasbro's incredible security team who let the movie details and all their stuff leak years in advance, we knew for a while that this movie wouldn't be about the ponies we know and love. And I've, obviously, like most bronies, have been searching for something to fill that pony-shaped void in my heart. Before anyone gets smart, no, pony life does not count. I thought the Star Wars fans who rejected the prequels were insane until the fandom got its own equivalent. Prequels aside, obviously G4 was one of the great 2010 animation's resurgence, honestly, in cartoons as a whole. Finally, filthy unwashed Westerners had shows that they could point to as a counter to other filthy unwashed Westerners that thought anime was the only form of animation you can consume. G4 obviously was regarded highly, whether it deserved the praise or not. And now that the movie is a few years removed from the last episode of the show, rose-tinted glasses are on in full effect, making this movie have to rise to some seriously high standards. I look forward to chipping away at the movie to show how far it fell from that standard, in a way that only a cynical YouTube reviewer with a cartoon avatar in the corner of the video can do.
I'm glad you came along with me to make this video, because not only do I have another brony's point of view on this movie, but there's not many other YouTubers out there who would talk about this anymore. They've moved on, like all things. Some do, but not us. So, introductions aside, what do you say we start this video?
Hey, I'm always down to do a pony video for those easy clicks, especially when I don't have to do any of the editing.
My man. The movie starts off paying homage to the main 6 of Gen 4, proclaiming them as the guardians of friendship, capable of doing anything with the power of friendship. It goes well, giving every character a line until Rarity goes off the deep end and starts attacking everyone with her horn magic.
You could read into this line a lot. You could probably discern some sort of meaning. In fact, there's a lot of Easter eggs that people see in scenes like this that probably don't actually exist, such as when the fandom used to think that Derpy's voice, if you slowed it down when she was screaming, sounded like the Doctor Who's wand thing. I'm not British. I don't watch Doctor Who. I have goals and aspirations in life. It's a really easy way to show that, yes, this world does not respect them or revere them as the older generations did.
After a few seconds of that fan service, we're shown that all this is just a game by 3 young ponies playing with toys of said characters. We transition downstairs where we're shown Sunny's father, Argyle, as the 2 cults head home. It's shown that Argyle is seen as a brainwasher because of his research, which is sadly how a lot of researchers have been seen throughout history, even today. And after a small talk between Sunny and her dad, they play together and send a letter from Maritime Bay as we're shown some blatant foreshadowing later in the movie. Argyle tells Sunny the story of a different time in Equestria as she goes to bed, asking why everyone can't be friends anymore, with her father basically avoiding the question, likely because she's going to bed and because it probably would have taken a lot of explaining too.
Fast forward a few years and look at that, surprise, surprise, our protagonist suffers from an all too common trope in Western media where the parents mysteriously die. Now, I thought they wouldn't actually kill off the father because they've already have the mysteriously missing mother, which is enough emotional baggage to probably drive on the character, but just to hammer home, we have to have the father die from nondescript causes and diseases that trigger some sort of emotional response, because if you want your protagonist to be able to be an in-depth character, they certainly can't be one with both parents alive. Come on! Haven't we learned anything from looking at the main 6 who almost never have parental interactions? And I mean, Applejack's is just all but dead. It took them, 9 years to even admit that they're no longer here, and even then they don't even say the word we're dead. They don't say past. So we should really expect this, even in G5. It's not necessarily a bad decision. In fact, it can be done well. Having a father figure or a mother figure die abruptly while in pursuit of a certain cause can certainly drive a person onward to try to complete said cause. However, I think something that probably would have been a lot more impactful would have just been to keep the father alive and had him slowly lose his faith in unity, spurring Sunny to go on and try to prove that, no, you weren't a fool, you weren't an outcast, this is totally possible, this is something that can happen, this is all possible while the father is still alive. The movie simply is taking a shortcut to pull at the emotional heartstrings.
Then we get a song I can't play for YouTube's bogus content ID system reasons, Gonna Be My Day. It's not a bad song and does introduce us to how Sunny is now, along with showing us the town and 2 cults Sunny played with in the beginning, Hitch and Sprout. Hitch is trying to keep Sunny from entering Cantor Logic as the sheriff, but shows with her little hoof shake that she's still one of his best friends, which I thought was nice that they're still friends as adults. We learn Sprout is the deputy as he stops Sunny from getting in. We're introduced to what I'm guessing is seen as the head figure of the Earth Ponies, Phyllis Cloverleaf, where she displays her new state-of-the-art defense systems against Unicorn and Pegasi. One of the poor sods gets upped out of the building, which Hitch says could be a lot of paperwork, nice little touch there. Once the fully automated demonstration starts, Sunny gets on stage and tries to explain to everyone not to fear unicorns or Pegasi before being the demonstration herself. I like how Phyllis is still trying to sell the demonstration while Sunny's still trying to tell everyone not to fear the other ponies. Sunny's got some real determination for her beliefs. After being foreshadowed to something later in the movie again, Sunny tries again to convince the ponies not to fear, but nobody buys it and Hitch asks Sunny to leave with him. Afterwards, Hitch and Sunny talk about what happened, and we learn that Hitch is the only friend Sunny has left in this town. Until we're introduced to arguably the best character in this movie, Izzy Moonbow.
I like how Izzy is actually just, kind of blurry. That Sunny was concussed by her fellow ponies only to have her vision slowly come back and focus on the fandom's new waifu, the fandom's new god, essentially, the queen of Derpy Peru, Izzy. And objectively, as a reviewer, I can say this is my job to make these objective claims. Izzy is, in fact, mathematically best pony. I'm going pretty far off script, but, hey, yes, he wanted a Moliminous collab. I don't do them often. This is...
Izzy, completely oblivious to the panic she's causing, thinks everyone is playing hide-and-seek as Hitch tries to stop her. Eventually, Izzy is captured only for Sunny to release her, and they quickly escape to Sunny's lighthouse. After they escape, Sunny tries to understand Izzy and unicorns more, but is stopped before she can by Hitch and Sprout, and after some Sprout hysteria, which we will get a lot of in this movie, Sunny and Izzy run off, and it's at this point Sunny learns that none of the unicorns have magic anymore. Sunny then figures out that Izzy was told bad things about the other pony races just like she was. Sunny comes to the conclusion that they should go see the Pegasi for help, but Izzy worries that they won't help and then immediately starts singing. What?
After some small fetish feel of sniffing other ponies, which happens more than you think, but maybe less than you hope depending on how much of a degenerate you are, we go into an abrupt song which kind of highlights the shortcomings of this movie, at least musically. A lot of these songs don't feel like songs on their own, and they don't even feel placed correctly. The abruptness that this song comes on simply highlights that this isn't like Daniel Ingram's old work on Rainbow Rocks, where the song transitions make thematical sense, and they happen to flow pretty well. This just kind of comes out of left field, and while the singing itself isn't bad, the lyrics aren't something that captivate you. A lot of these songs sound like borderline parodies of other more popular songs. This isn't a soundtrack or an album that I would listen to on my own, whereas with something like Rainbow Rocks, I could enjoy it as just a CD, as an album, as something to be there, as a standalone project. This, with or without the movie, just feels like it should have been left on the cutting room floor.
Back in Maritime Bay, Hitch decides to go by himself to arrest Sunny for all the trouble she's caused. Sprout, clearly a jealous, spoiled mama's boy, is convinced by his mom that he's the new sheriff, which, seeing his desk and that he can't even spell deputy right, is not the best decision. That misaligned 2x2 Rubik's Cube is the biggest sin on this desk. It makes my eye twitch every time I see it. We go back to Sunny and Izzy traveling through a canyon to get to the Pegasi until they realize they're being followed by one. After going on top of the canyon, they figure out who was following them, but don't get her name before they're captured. Izzy is in awe of the tennis ball on her head, while Sunny is asking the Pegasus that captured her several questions as we're shown the world of the Pegasi, Zephyr Heights, and treated to all of those wonderful branding puns that totally won't age horribly.
Nay Station. Did you really make that pun? You really want to make me say that pun, Nay Station? Holy Listen, I may be a whore who sells himself out to any advertiser, but I have standards. I don't make those types of puns.
After we're shown the Princess of Zephyr Heights, Pip Petals, Sunny and Izzy are taken to Queen Haven along with the princess we saw earlier and the pony who saw Izzy and Sunny in the canyon. After Pip shows off Sunny and Izzy to everyone in Zephyr Heights, great princess, Queen Haven sends them into dungeons before confiscating Sunny's book. Back to Sprout, the people of Maritime Bay are waiting to hear what the sheriff, Hitch for that matter, not really Sprout, has to say, and we get some very weird dialogue. And I mean very.
My, oh my, aren't you the handsome sheriff? Look at ya.
Yes, I am, Mommy.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time someone's called me Mommy during a collab, I'd have at least 3 nickels. Which isn't a lot. But the fact that it's happened 3 times is fucking weird.
Anyways, Phyllis convinces Sprout to do something as sheriff, which leads into the song Angry Mob. It's not a bad song, and does show us how Sprout's sheriff position gets to his head very quickly, while his mother only adds on to it more. Also, I like the Gen 3 reference on the TVs. That was a nice inclusion, even if, you know, like Moliminous said in his video, it would be odd to show a unicorn and Pegasi getting along with an Earth pony. I think that was a nice nod to Gen 3. After that, we return to Sunny and Izzy in the dungeon, with Izzy putting it best.
This isn't dungeony at all.
Zip then talks to them about Sunny's journal, but not before Pip interrupts and tells them that only royals can fly, and that's just how it is. Once Pip leaves, Zip gets Sunny and Izzy out of the dungeon to show them something, as we're shown Hitch on his way to find Sunny, rabbit army and all. He gives his speech on finding Sunny, completely oblivious to what's behind him until the rabbits show him that Sunny and Izzy have both been captured by the Pegasi.
We go back to actually Zip, Sunny, and Izzy, and they're in the train station, or some sort of other station where probably hot air balloons came to deliver ponies and take them away. And this is actually where we see the first piece of evidence that really suggests this kind of timeline of how the world got so fucked. It wasn't just that Twilight was incompetent, but it seems that the world slowly became more and more broken, probably after her death and after Celestia and Luna's death. Because we see that Zephyr Heights or Bridalwood and all these other places, they're not something that existed in G4. In fact, the specific poster that we see for Bridalwood didn't exist in G4. That city isn't on the map. In fact, if you actually go on the wiki, you can see that the first mentions of Bridalwood aren't in the comics or the show or any other movie, it's only in this one here. Meaning that back when Bridalwood was created, these ponies were still living in harmony. As you can see that they're all together, they're all happy, and they're also using the newer designs and not a callback to G4 designs, meaning that it's post whatever reform happened to these ponies. Sunny also sees the stained glasses that depict like all the unicorns and Pegasi holding up different crystals and putting them together. She makes this weird leap that if she just finds these crystals, she can go ahead and combine them to somehow return magic. Which is very strange because we know she's a historian and never in G4 was anything like this a thing. So this would have been fairly new or just completely made up because later we see it doesn't even work. Regardless, Zip actually understands that her mother's crown is the Pegasi jewel, and so they have to concoct some sort of plan to steal it during her sister Pip's performance tonight.
I like how even though Zip and Haven are walking with the wires on, Pip comes into frame hung up by said wires with the biggest smile on her face. She looks just like a kid ready for a play and it got a big smile out of me. All goes according to plan except for Haven's dog and Hitch, who messed things up, but not before Haven's dog immediately falls in love with Hitch. I do like how Hitch is a love magnet to any animal, even ones not from Maritime. After some antics, it's revealed that the royals can't fly either. Once the four escape, it's shown that Queen Haven is arrested for some reason, I'm guessing treason, as Pip shows up with the Pegasus crystal because reasons. Have to move the plot along somehow, right? Afterwards, the now 5 ponies escape Zephyr Heights as we're brought back to Maritime Bay. We see that Sprout's let his position more than get to his head by that bad Darth Vader reference. Sprout claims himself to be the Emperor, and I'm guessing that is another bad Star Wars reference before it's hinted that Sprout's making something, but we don't get to see what it is. We return back to what I'm going to call the main 5 from here on out, where we see some nice interactions between them, especially Izzy and Hitch. After some conflict, Sunny tries to reason with everyone, and Izzy does what Izzy does. Later that night, we're shown some actual feelings from Izzy as she reveals that Sunny's photo is the reason why she came to Maritime Bay, saying she found it when she was just a filly. Some words are shared before we're shown the entrance of the Unicorn Forest. Everything in it is creepy and dark colored except for Izzy's house naturally, as Izzy lets everyone come in. We're shown all the wonderful things Izzy's made, including a makeshift music box that plays the My Little Pony theme, nice little touch there too. Izzy shows off a tea set with everyone before she starts another song on how to get into the Unicorn Town.
Izzy's song is somewhat enjoyable. Now, it doesn't really ever hit the heights that the fandom used to see, and I'm not even sure if Daniel Ingram was even on this project, which may lead to the loss of identity that a lot of these songs have, as we've been using Daniel Ingram maybe as a crutch because the fandom is so used to his style of songwriting, song production, that anything that deviates from it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have that same flair. But the song does a good job of genre hopping, of course, including the obligatory hip-hop verses in there, and it doesn't really offend me. It's not too grating to the ears. Maybe that's just my bias of liking Izzy, but it's not that bad. And it did lead to a lot of jokes that came out of completely left field about how this is how unicorns do X, Y, and Z, and so overall, it was pretty enjoyable.
After the song, we're shown the town of Bridalwood and how depressing it is. We see by Hitch and smaller unicorns that magic along with a few other words are forbidden here, and the unicorns have to do an anti-jinx dance after one of those words are said. Izzy then brings the 5 to the Crystal Tea Room, saying there's a unicorn inside who could help them. Inside, Sunny is told the unicorn lost its crystal to Alpha Brittle, the unicorn who runs the tea room. Sunny challenges Alpha Brittle for the unicorn crystal, offering the Pegasus crystal, except Alpha Brittle rejects the Rubik's Cube as the challenge and brings in the ultimate challenge, just Prance. Alpha Brittle tells Sunny she only needs to win one of the 3 games, spoilers she does, but not before we're given a song? The characters don't sing it, it's from the game, so I won't really consider it a song. After Sunny wins, she accidentally reveals herself as the Earth Pony. Alpha Brittle wrongfully asks for their crystal despite losing fair and square, real dick move on his end, before Hitch says all the forbidden words that allowed them to escape. In the middle of the forest, Haven somehow figured out Zip and Pip were here, and that's never explained as Alpha Brittle catches up to them. The Pegasus guards catch up to Haven, and with everyone here, Sunny reveals that nobody has magic. Sunny convinces Haven and Alpha Brittle to let them put the crystals together, and it doesn't work. We have over 20 minutes left in this movie, I saw that coming from a mile away. Heartbroken it didn't work, Sunny goes back home with Hitch following before saying goodbye to Zip, Pip, and Izzy.
After Sunny decides to just be a racist because she wasn't able to fix magic, which wasn't even her initial goal, actually, it's kind of just a side quest that she decided to venture upon, she discovers that underneath her little toy that her father made was the Earth Pony gem. Now, I don't want to say that this is bad writing, because it was exceptionally convenient and makes our protagonist pretty stupid. But this is bad writing and makes our protagonist seem extremely stupid. Meanwhile, when she's discovering how not to be racist because they'll have magic, Sprout is growing a little bit too big for his britches. It's just becoming a full-on dictator at this point, using fear and anger to drive the populace into fighting as an angry mob against the creatures that they believe can, one, fly, shoot magic, lasers, and all kinds of other effects that really just highlight the dichotomy between, or the trichotomy between these two groups of people, or three groups of people, where, in any kind of war, the Pegasi and Unicorn, especially the Unicorns, kind of kick their asses, but I guess Sprout is just that good of a general at stirring up fear that they decide to go on a rampage. It does kind of break my view of him as being a mama's boy though, because in this scene, he's actually renouncing his mother's feelings, in fact actively cutting her out and no longer seeking for her approval, despite it seeming that that was his whole reason for wanting to be sheriff, was because it was going to make his mom proud. It was his mom's idea. He didn't really have ambitions of his own. While he did seem to want recognition, that was really kind of just a small part of his personality. It didn't seem to be this extreme. So it does kind of muddy his personality quite a bit, to me at least, and kind of shows another plot hole in this whole movie. It doesn't make sense that any of this is really happening, but it seems like they needed some sort of conflict in order to wrap up the movie.
Worried about what Sprout will do, Sunny and Hitch try to go warn the others of what's going to happen before they come across Izzy, Zip, and Pip, who say they wanted to remain friends. Moments after, Haven and Alpha Brittle show up telling Izzy, Zip, and Pip to come back to their respective homes. Sprout shows up and tries to kill Haven and Alpha Brittle along with who's with them? God, that's dark, even for a fan like me. Sunny asks for the Unicorn and Pegasus crystals as she runs back to her lighthouse, saying that there's a third one, and the whole final tense battle to end the movie ensues. It's no Twilight vs. T-Rex, but it does serve to the plot, so it's fine. After Izzy and Sunny put the crystals in, it doesn't work again, as Sunny and Izzy tragically fall with half of Sunny's house going with them. Luckily, after the smoke clears, everyone survives this, as Sunny realizes that it's not the crystals that needed to be brought together, but the ponies who carry them. Haven, Alpha Brittle, and Phyllis all silently agree with her, which causes the crystals to light up and... God damn it, merchandising! I knew as soon as Sunny started floating that she'd turn into an Alicorn. Moliminous called it too. Just like Twilight, it's just another way to sell more toys and wasn't something that was needed. So dumb.
After a couple minutes of Hasbro telling us to buy their new Sunny figure, we get to go ahead and wrap up the movie. We see that Sprout actually has no consequences for his actions, just, literally starting a race war, and, just a bad pony, just don't do it again, He said he's sorry, guys. He said he's sorry for starting a race war. We should just forgive him.
And that's basically the whole movie. Now, there are parts I left out because it wasn't too important to the story. If I had left them in, this video would have been much longer, and instead of adding more onto this part of the video, I wanted to talk more about what I thought about this movie. Being a Gen 4 fan of both Pokemon and My Little Pony, you'd expect me to probably shit on anything new and cling on to what I know and love, and while some people do crap on this movie and probably will on the Sinnoh remakes too, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I don't roll that way. Longtime fans of my channel will tell you that I like being open-minded about new stuff, and that I often won't shut my damn mouth about things, especially my life as a teenage robot in Undertale, which I don't care what people say. I love both of them enough to talk about them in every single video I make. Hell, I gave 2021's Johnny Test a weak 3 out of 10 when most people would have given it a 1 or 0 even, so I do like to be open-minded to new things, and while I'm staying hopeful for the Sinnoh remakes, I don't know why I decided to talk about Gen 4 being related to both My Little Pony and Pokemon for me now, but, I guess it fits. I did the same for this movie, and I really did enjoy it, but it does have its flaws. The story is good, mostly being about how racism is bad, but because the movie solely focuses on this, it doesn't leave much else to the story. There's not really any side plots because of it, not to mention the odd pacing of the movie at times. The one where Izzy worries about the Pegasus and immediately breaks into song was odd, even when I first saw the movie. And I would have liked seeing what happened to Celestia, Luna, Cadence, and all the other big characters we loved from Gen 4. But it's not the worst thing in the world. I do kind of wish we got to see more of Equestria though, and how it currently is like we did in the 2017 movie, but it likely would have made the movie a lot longer, so I can understand why they just stuck with the story they did. The thing I probably didn't like the most was Sprout's mommy issues. I hated hearing him say mommy every damn time he said it. However, that's really the only big complaints I have about this movie. There's a lot of good things in the movie that I loved, especially the animation. This movie looks insane. I loved how the unicorn's horns are different shades of color than the pony. I loved how insane Pip's hair looked after it was revealed the royals were fake. It looks just like a messed up head of hair. I love every single scene Izzy is in. My favorite scene is probably when Sunny carefully goes around town to avoid traps and Hitch, while Izzy couldn't care less about the potential danger she's in. She's easily my favorite character because of it. Another thing that I noticed about the main five is that each of them kind of represent Gen 4's main six in their own way. Sunny is smart and optimistic like Twilight, Izzy is airheaded and happy just like Pinkie, Pip cares about her appearance and position just like Rarity, while Hitch has similar traits to both Fluttershy and Applejack, being an animal magnet and a loyal member of Maritime as the sheriff. And Zip is basically a calmer Rainbow Dash with the princess position and different colors too. I did appreciate the similarities to the characters that helped make this series into what it is today, and I'm actually very excited to see where they go from here after this movie.
As far as where the show is gonna take this, I have no clue. Is Sunny gonna be a permanent alicorn? Is this gonna be like the Rainbow Rocks power-ups and stuff where they get a different one every single time? Do Earth Ponies get any magic now? Because before, you know, to give Earth Ponies some sort of leverage, they usually were a little bit stronger sometimes? Or they have some sort of, quote, innate magic that helped them with farming, though as we've seen, Twilight and other unicorns are just way better at that, able to pick entire orchards with a single flick of their horn, or really unicorns are just super OP. And what I'm saying is, how are they gonna actually explain away some of the valid concerns and criticisms that are about the trichotomy between these races and the unequal access to abilities, powers, and opportunities that are therefore created? But hey, nothing says kids show like geopolitical turmoil and systemic racism. Overall, I think this movie did what it wanted to do. It was a dumb kids movie. It wasn't made for 20-something YouTubers to go over and overanalyze and nitpick and do all this kinds of stuff. There are certainly different things about this story that just don't make a lot of sense, and if their demographic is for tweens and teens, they're greatly underestimating the level of intelligence and the concepts that these people can actually interpret and understand. Steven Universe has shown us that kids aren't stupid. If you approach certain topics in an appropriate manner, they can understand some pretty dense stuff that a lot of adults still can't conquer. There were definitely some lazy scenes, and I'm just gonna call them lazy scenes because it felt like some of this was just really rushed. Some of it just didn't make sense. The duplicates that we see all throughout the show or movie that are just front and center. There's all kinds of issues. Now, overall, the movie is perfectly fine. Is it something to really write home about? Is it something to get excited about? Does this encourage me that G5 is just gonna be the next thing that reinvigorates my passion for ponies? Probably not, honestly. The movie is passable and the audience will probably be okay with it. They might have a little bit of feelings of, hey, why do these songs sound so familiar? Or rather, why do these songs sound like 90 other million songs that I've heard in animated movies? Why did the plot feel so weird? How did Sunny make this logical leap? There's just some things that, even if you're just casually watching, not trying to interpret the movie on any kind of deeper level than surface, that kind of ruin your experience of the movie. And to try to say that you should ignore parts of the movie to enjoy the movie just seems antithetical to the whole point of watching a movie.
So, with all those pros and cons out of the way, it's about time I gave my overall thoughts on this movie. At the end of the day, I see My Little Pony: A New Generation as a great experience to a new generation of My Little Pony while giving older fans a few things to enjoy along the way. Yes, we barely got any of the original characters on screen, but this isn't about them anymore. It's about what the title says, a new generation. At least we got what we got with the Gen 4 references instead of them acting like the previous generation never existed like we had with all the other generations of My Little Pony. So it is nice to see them recognizing the previous generation instead of starting anew. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this movie a good 7 out of 10. It's not a mind-blowing experience, but it's still very enjoyable to watch, and I'm excited to see where they take the characters and series from here.
Honestly, here I'd give this movie a 6 out of 10. 5 out of 10 has always been my baseline of a watchable movie. This thing does have some things that really stand out to me. Mostly, an extra 1 point is because Izzy is super cute, and she's my new waifu. I've only known her for this one movie, but I've now based my entire personality around her. She's my Discord profile picture, banner, and in fact, I am now coming out as a follower of Izzy.
Well, with all that said and done, I'd say the 2021 My Little Pony movie is good enough to watch for any fan of the show and leaves us wondering what they'll do with it from here on out. So, yeah, that's basically the whole video. If you guys like the show or want to mention anything I missed, let me know. I want to again thank Moliminous for being in this video with me. I can't thank him enough for being in this video. It was a wonderful video to make with him in it.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on here. I hope you enjoy editing my mess of audio and having fun with that. If you guys enjoy me, if you guys like my vocal presence, if you like my jokey jokes, you can go ahead and find me on Moliminous Theater. If you like to see more prepared content rather than streams that you can find on Moliminous Theater, you can find me over on just Moliminous. Yeah, that's right. I got my branding locked down. It's just Moliminous. Just search that into Google and you'll get a million results.
Thanks again for being in this video, man. I loved making this video, especially with you in it, but more importantly, I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, take care, and have a good one.
Okay, we are done. Hey, I kept it under an hour. Let's go. Let's fucking go, mate.